up? Hello everybody, my name is Kadian and welcome back to my channel. So this year I went to BookCon for the very first time. I went to BookCon for the first time and it was pretty interesting. So the reason for me going to BookCon is, well, of course I'm a book lover, right? I love books. The reason for me going to BookCon was more of a research kind of thing, right? So I think I've read about BookCon maybe like 2-3 years ago or so. So I never really thought about going until recently because, as you know, I have a book that I self-published, and BookCon is a place that allows you to sell your books to a massive amount of people. So BookCon see probably thousands of people when they have their events. So potentially you could sell a lot of your books. However, I'm also very realistic and not naive. I know that I'm a indie author, so not a lot of people know about me. More or less only a handful of people know about me. So even though I was considering to go to BookCon as an exhibitor, I thought that for this year I would go as a research to see if indeed, based off of what my observations are, if I go to BookCon as an exhibitor, as an indie author that really nobody knows, if there's a potential to sell my books and make money, because BookCon is a little bit expensive, right? It's like maybe $1,000 or more or so. Last time I checked, I'm not sure. But it's a little bit expensive to be an exhibitor at BookCon. So I have to make sure that my return on investment is going to be worth going there if, you know, nobody knows about me and they're not going to buy my book. So I wanted to find out, like, if people just go there and actually look at all the different books that are there and decide, okay, oh, this looks cool, I see a book, let me buy it. Or if they go for just the people that they love, for just the books that they love. And the answer to that is, I think that is the case. So going to BookCon, I really didn't plan on buying any books. I know that there's a potential for me buying books because there are books, and every time I go to a bookstore I'm like, oh, I should get this because it's a book. But that's just me, right? So when I went there, I decided to go to find the where the indie authors are and the other not so well known exhibitors. So there's 2 days, so I went there 2 days. First day I went was like after 4, like 5ish, and I know BookCon ended at like 6. So I went there towards the ending, and it was super confusing because I was like, this is my first time going to BookCon, obviously, and I was like, we just went there, we walked in, we're like, okay, so where do we start? So pretty much this is this big entire showcase area. So this is at the Javits Center. It's a very big building, and everybody, different authors, different book publishing companies have their own little areas set up. Some look very fancy and pretty, like actual stores. Some are just like regular booths with like tents or tables or whatever. So in the main area, like you walk into, go through the Javits Center door, go straight in the main area. That's where you have like all the big publishers and big authors, and they have a little section where they sell their books and whatever. So when I went there first, I didn't want to see them yet. I wanted to see like the indie author because that's my main purpose of going there. So literally I was like walking through that entire area and I'm like, I cannot find anybody. Where are they? And then we're like, oh, there's another side to the Javits Center from the main area. There's a little side to off to the left. So we're like, oh, maybe they're over there. So we went over there, walked around a little bit, and when I went there, I saw a couple of people that I recognized. There was Mandy Lynn, there was Bethany, and those are both YouTubers, booktubers, author-tubers, yeah. First I know I goes to BookCon all the time that I'm kind of familiar with was Kristen Martin. So I'm not really a big fan of her. I've been subscribed to her for a little while. I've watched a couple of her videos, but I'm not like a religious fan of her. I wanted to just like see if there are like crowds. You know, she's pretty popular, you know, enough. So I wanted to see if there's like crowds of people around her, how it is, and when I went to that side, everybody was just like sitting down, chilling, talking. Kristen Martin was away at that point. She was like, I guess, on lunch or something, so somebody else was there, you know, sitting by her table. And you know, Mandy and Bethany was only like, they were across from each other, so they were also just chit-chatting or whatever. So I was like, I don't know, I watched Mandy, and I think I watched like one video from Bethany, and I watched a couple of videos from Mandy, but I think I watched most videos from Kristen. So I wanted to see her. I was thinking about buying a couple of her books, because you know, I felt it was a little bit weird or odd to just like go up to her and start asking her questions or talking to her and then not buy one of her books or not support her. So I wanted to buy one of her books, but I wasn't gonna buy it if she wasn't there. So I left. So it was you know, BookCon was about to be done anyways. So I left. We went to the hotel. We were staying by a hotel nearby. Was it Doubletree? Yeah, Doubletree. They get free cookies. It was good. But yeah, so I went to the Doubletree, and then we went the next day. Time to start recording. Does this look suspicious? Think everybody knows I'm recording?
I mean, I don't think anybody would care, but it was Gimple or a stick or something.
Well, I don't. Remember we supposed to stop at Best Buy and we didn't? The next day we went a little bit earlier. I think BookCon started at 10. And when I went the day before, it wasn't too like busy. There was a lot of people there, a lot of long lines, but it didn't feel like super crowded and super busy, because previously, another time, I went to an anime convention at Javits Center, and it was packed. Like, there was a line outside wrapping around the building to get inside the Javits Center. So I figured like BookCon would be something similar, and because I went the day before a little bit later, it wasn't that busy. But then the next day we were going early, like at 10 o'clock when it started, so I expected like a long line. And then when we went there, there was really no line at all. I was like, oh, interesting. It was pretty clear. There was like not a crowd of people like trying to like go, you know, enter the building. It was just like, there are people, obviously, there's a lot of people, like thousands of people, but if you know the Javits Center, you know that it could hold a lot of people. So it wasn't anime convention size, but it was a lot of people. So we went in and we're like, okay, we know what we want to do. We want to see the indie authors now, because literally I wanted to see like how many people really go there and buy the books from the indie authors. And when I went back around, like Kristen Martin, not because I'm a big fan of her, you know, she's done some impressive stuff, obviously, but because I wanted to see, you know, just how that era is for indie authors. So when I went, she wasn't there again. I think she was like having breakfast, I don't know. Or maybe she was like, I think she was there, but she was like stooping down. I don't know, she was doing something. So I was like, interesting, cool. So I was like, okay, well, since I'm here, let me talk to Mandy, because I'm sort of familiar with her. So I looked at some of her books. I bought one. I think I bought, which one did I buy? Oh, She's Not Here. Okay, cool. So I bought this one by Mandy Lynn. She's Not Here. I haven't read it yet. Don't know what it's about. But I figured since I was there staring, I might as well, you know, buy something. So what I found out, or from my conclusion, since I haven't really spoken to anybody, but I can conclude based off of observation, that the indie authors really don't get a lot of traffic, and people really don't stop by that area very often to buy books. So of course they did sell some books, but is the money that you spend to be an exhibitor at BookCon really worth it? Because are the customers really buying that many books to pay you back for what you spent, for the travel, the hotels, all that fun shenanigans, and also make a profit? I didn't get that vibe. So I don't know if like other years have been better, but I didn't get that feeling at all. I don't know. But it seemed like a really cool, chill time. Bethany was there with Mandy. They seemed to be very close, like they're friends. Well, I think they're friends. I think they wrote a book together. So it seemed like a very good time to like network and chat with people and just like chill. I don't know. So that was an interesting experience. We took a picture with Mandy. Mandy was super nice actually. She asked a couple questions. She engaged in conversation. I'm a little bit weird when it comes to people that I'm not used to, or just like conversating with people normally. I'm so weird. I'm beginning to feel like I have, what you call it, social anxiety, because not like I can't talk with people I don't know, because I talk with people I don't know all the time. I work in retail, but it's different. I don't know, I can't explain it. It's weird. So, but she was really nice. I was really weird and awkward. Usually I am. But yeah, so after that, we left that area. So I looked around that area a little bit. There were some other people that I've never seen before in my life that had you know, their books displayed. So I was like, maybe I could buy some you know, whatever books that are there, or support some other people. It felt like, how do I explain this? So there was like a little bit of a pressure, because some booths you went up to, they would just like stare at you. Yeah. I'm so weird. So like I wouldn't say anything, but then it would get more weird because they wouldn't say anything either. The one book I went up to, I was like looking at the books, looking at the covers, trying to like read the back blurb, and then the guy was just like staring at me like. So I was at this point I wasn't even reading the blurb. I was just looking at it because of like, why is he staring at me? So then he was like, oh, that's the second book, this is the first one. I'm like, oh, okay, so I guess I'll look at the first one. But then he would just like continue to stare at me without not saying anything. So it was just so weird. I was like, oh, okay, thanks, bye, I will leave. So it was a little bit weird, but I feel like most of the exhibitors there, like, they don't get as much traffic as like the big name authors, which is obvious. It goes without saying. So maybe they were just like a little bit anxious to like sell this book or talk about this book because somebody is looking at it now. But yeah, I'm just weird, so that wasn't gonna work out. But what I should say though is somebody I was really impressed by is over here. I also bought this book at BookCon. Don't know who this author is. Never heard of them. They were not there, I don't think. No, they were not there. But I guess their publishing company was there selling the books. So this lady that was there, she's a salesperson. Like, I was inspired because, like I said, I was just like walking around looking at books, like, oh, look at that book. But I've never, like, if you're in that area where it's just like, not necessarily indie authors, but like smaller authors and smaller publishers, some of them you might not hear, like, you might have heard of before, right? So whereas you can look at books that it's kind of popular and common, and you've heard of them before, so you're like, oh, that's cool, I'll buy that. I remember this, I've heard about this, let me buy that. Like those, like, you've never heard of it, so you're like, I don't know. the thing. So I was looking at this book. I wasn't really looking at it. I was like walking past the table, and while I was walking, I was just like looking as I'm walking, because I'm like, I don't want to stop, because then I don't want to be like stared at strangely. So then the lady saw me looking, and she was like, "Oh, looking for anything in particular?" And I was like, "Nope." She's like, "What kind of books you like to read?" I was like, YA, fantasy, that kind of stuff, you know. So she was like, well, this one is not a YA fantasy, but if you for a couple minutes, I think you'll actually be really interested in this one. So she asked me like what kind of book, like what books I read. So I told her like a couple books that I read. So she's like, "Oh, this book, not YA fantasy, but you might actually like it because it's about this, that, whatever." And so in my mind, I'm like, I probably won't read it, because I've bought a lot of books that I actually would like to read and have not read it or have the time to read it. So I'm like, I probably won't read it, but I really appreciate her efforts to like get me in and get me engaged and talk to me and whatever. So I'm like, oh, good salesperson. Like, I admire that. Like it. This is how you sell books when nobody comes here to buy your book. So I'm like, yeah, maybe BookCon would not be so bad if I'm able to like draw people in, but with my personality, that's not gonna happen. So day 2 of BookCon, I went in more prepared-ish, right? Because BookCon is an app where you could do schedule events and all that fun stuff. So they'll even give you notifications, and notification when an event is happening. So they do like different TED Talks, little events, whatever, book signings, whatever informational stuff that's happening, and they'll send you notifications. So you could plan like, oh, at 10 o'clock I want to do this, at 11 o'clock I want to do this. But they have so many events where they kind of overlap. So I was going in like, okay, cool, in the morning I'm going to do this, and that. And then I'll go to like an event. I will go there late. It's already started, and then I have to like kind of like watch where those events were. I intended it to be more like hands-on. So you get the chance to participate in some events, but only if you get there early. I'm now gathering. So they'll pick like participants that can be a part of the event, be a part of like the discussion or presentation, whatever it is. But they'll pick it when the event just starts, and if you go there late, they're not gonna pick you. But day 2 of BookCon, I went there ready. Went there with a plan in hand. So BookCon is an app where you can make a schedule for yourself of all the events that you want to go to, and it'll remind you when the event is starting, so you don't lose track of time. So I looked through all the events, and there's a bunch of stuff happens, a bunch of like little TED Talks, meetups, conversations, stuff, events, like games, all kinds of stuff that's happening. So I scheduled myself for a lot of them, and apparently too many of them, because some of them actually overlap. So sometimes like you get a notification while you're in the middle of one, you're like, oh, but I really wanted to do this one, and then you have to like leave halfway through. So I ended up not getting a lot from these events, because if you leave halfway through, sometimes you only get like half of whatever it is that they're talking about. So a small bit, and then I'll go to the other one late, so I only get to like participate in some of the stuff that was happening. So it's just like, okay, this is way too much stuff. So I planned for myself to do way too many things that I couldn't actually get done. So after like about 2 hours or so of just like jumping back and forth from room to room, trying to like be involved in stuff and not getting much done, I decided to go back to the main floor area where the books are at, the books are selling. So walked around for a bit, stopped by Epic Reads, little setup, bought some books from there. I bought let's see, what did I buy? Bought this one, A Tiger at Midnight. I'm not taking it out. Tiger at Midnight. I bought this one. This one looks actually very interesting. I should really read that one. That one's School of Good and Evil, something. And then I got that one, The Butterfly Girl. I bought something else. Yeah, I'm sure I bought something else, but it's probably on the other side. And I'm not touching these books. So anywho, and then after I walked around for some bit, looking at some boots and stuff, I stopped by Danielle Page's booth, which is, this is her book. Okay, so this one is Danielle Page's book. It's called Mara Tidebreaker, and this is the first time I'm buying any book from her. This is like a comic book kind of thing. I bought her book, and since I bought her book, I figured why not like get it signed since I'm there. So this is when I found out like the book signings take forever, like literally forever. So for the authors that have sign-ins in their booth area, they sign in at a specific time. So say they have a sign-in at 3 o'clock, like you have to wait till 3 o'clock. So I was like, when I was there, it was like 1 o'clock. So we're like, oh, we'll come back at 3 to the sign-in. We walk around for a bit, and then we're like, okay, we're kind of tired. Let's just go wait. It's like 30 minutes. We just wait, but we'll just be the first one. We go there. There's literally already a line forming, and we're like, what? It's like 30 more minutes. So we joined the line, and by the time it was time for the signing to happen, it was literally like the longest line possible. So this is when I had like a moment, because when I went there, there are literally groups of little lines all over the place at different booths, and I'm like, what is these lines for? Like, are these lines were so long, they'll just extend around and around and around. I'm like, but what is this line for? And they have like little signs like line ends here, line begins here. I'm like, I have no idea what this line for, because the line isn't next to what it's supposed to be. So that's when I realized, okay, the lines are for the author that does the signing at their author booths, because yeah, those people wanted to sign, you know, have their book signed, and they have to join this long line to do it. And it had like another signing area, but you had to join another line for that. So because I was pretty much early for Danielle Page's sign, a couple people were in front of me, so got the book signed very quickly. But I was the only one I did, because I was not prepared to do no extra long line situation to get any book signed. What is the point of this video again? So she asked me a question like, what does your name mean? Where are you from? How long have you been here? So she asked me a lot of questions, and I answered the questions. She was really nice. Overall, BookCon was super interesting. It was a little bit fun. My favorite part of just like being there was literally just like being outside my house, chilling at the hotel, chilling in the city, and going to this like super amazing Chinese spot that I found that had like noodles, and they had it in like those little box containers like you see on TV. Yes, it was my first time having that. I'm gonna have a lot of furs, because you know I'm that person. So yeah, that was that part was super fun, super interesting. I loved it. Great. If I go back to the city, I'll definitely go back just to go to that Chinese spot again. But yeah, so overall, great experience, great time. You know. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you again next time when I post a new video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to see future videos from me. Alright? Bye.